This is the real Ahmed Johnson, and you're on Count It Out, the best podcast in the United States. And if you don't watch Count It Out, then check it out. I might just count you out.
Listening to Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
Well, we are live, pals, and welcome to one more episode of the Bill Apter Sealed of Approved Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for being so patient and understanding as we did not come out with a show last week. And here we are this week. Of course, we're going to do this. I'm going to explain the format today, but before I do so, I'd like to introduce the man that, by all means, is the last person that should be on this show, considering we are in the middle of the most intense Battle of Ontario in history, possibly. Matt Sookram, welcome as always.
Thanks for having me.
What a series so far, man. Oof.
It's been awesome. You can you can thank my son for Ottawa's win on Saturday. So the game 2 and 3 were on school nights, so we let him stay up to watch the end of the third, and we were like, buddy, you're gonna have to go to bed. Like, sorry, you can watch the highlights in the morning, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Game 4 was on the Saturday, so we let him stay up, and the Leafs lost. So yeah, we were like, see, that's why you have to go to bed.
Well, I'm gonna be calling you every like 4 hours tomorrow night, and hopefully just to wake up Jason, so he can't go to sleep. As long as he's not sleeping, we should be okay.
That's right. I mean,
let's hope to God we don't get another overtime.
Oh man, it's fun though. I've missed this.
I was initially disappointed that my Senators were playing the Leafs in the first, because it never goes well. We don't have a good history of playing the Leafs in the playoffs, but number one, it is fun as long as I don't have to go to work the next day, because I live in Leaf
Are you
country.
Surrounded by Leaf fans? Yeah, in Newmarket for sure.
I basically live in Toronto, but I work in King City. I'm on the outskirts of Toronto. I'm in Leaf country here. So going to work after a loss, or being at work, considering I work at a place where we show the game, is during a loss is never fun.
No, I can imagine.
However, we do have a lot to speak about. One thing I am going to say, we're going to talk a little bit of WrestleMania today, just a little bit, but I want everybody to know we're giving Tyler some very well-deserved time off this week. He has a lot of stuff on his plate, so he's taking a little bit of a break. He should be back next week. Out of respect for Tyler and everything Tyler does for the show, it just wouldn't feel right for me to go and do our big WrestleMania roundup without him. It just wouldn't be right, the right thing to do. Same thing with our big 41 list that me and him have planned.
I cannot wait to hear that. That's going to be so fun to listen to.
He fully gave me permission to do that with you. And I said, you know what? No, this needs to be me and you. We have to do this together. So that hopefully will be next week.
And honestly, out of those 41 WrestleManias, as big as a wrestling fan that I am, I think it would be tough for me to remember.
Have you watched all 41
matches.
WrestleManias?
Honestly, probably not. Okay. I honestly from first bell to last bell. No,
Sure. Okay.
I don't think I've seen all of 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, so
I think I've seen all of Netflix. 5. I think I've seen all of 6. Yes, but there's also 41 freaking years of wrestling to get through.
You're not wrong. Man, yeah, it was a great WrestleMania. We are going to touch on it just a bit, because how can we not? We can't go into today's conversation without talking a little bit of WrestleMania, because we are going to be doing a lot of talk about Backlash today. We are on the road. We're off the road to WrestleMania. We're on the road to Backlash. Backlash is always a fun pay-per-view, because it's literally the Backlash of WrestleMania. We're going off these stories, and there's a lot to talk about this week. We're going to start off with the fact that just as we predicted, Tyler and I, Randy Orton will be taking on John Cena for the championship. I love everything they're doing with this story so far. We always knew that they would revisit this rivalry at some point.
Hmm.
They had to. There's a few stories that have to be told during this retirement tour, and this was one of them. I'm not sure I had on my bingo card it was going to be this early, but with Backlash being in St. Louis, it only makes sense. How do you feel this time around with the first time ever John Cena's the heel and Randy's the face?
It makes sense with the current climate that we're in the current stories that they are trying to tell, right? Like
Yeah,
they want this Cena heel run to dominate the headlines, and Randy is just at a point of his career where he's not going to get booed, right? You can
right.
put him up against Joe Hendry, and he's not going to get
He's
booed,
he's got Undertaker syndrome at this point, where
which
you know
isn't
what
a
I mean?
bad
Yeah,
thing.
no, it's not.
Because he is a guy that is in that part-time role and he's kind of relishing being in that part-time role and he's doing what he can to get that get that next wave over. Although, his last major rivalry was against Kevin Owens, and I wouldn't say Kevin Owens is like next wave. I think Kevin Owens is an
Yeah,
established star, but
yes,
it is a rivalry to get a guy on the card that's there every week and try to get them over, right? And that's the
agreed.
role that Randy is playing right now. So it will be interesting to see how they do this match. Although you can go back and watch some of their matches, and there are matches where Randy is getting cheered more than Cena
Right.
based on the crowd reactions, right?
And
So
especially back then, people were kind of getting not only getting sick of Cena, they were getting sick of that rivalry. They
yes.
and I do mean they, because I never was. I always loved those two together. Always have. I can't wait for this one because the story is so different, and this story hasn't been told yet. Give
I
it a
mean,
think.
I really feel like they were the ruthless aggressions
Yes,
Rock and Austin,
yeah, 100% they
right?
were.
Came
You
up
couldn't have,
basically at the same time.
yeah,
Both were looking to get
and they
or
were
to
the
be the guy
it was,
and
and it was them along with Batista and Brock. They were
Batista.
they they, they
Yep.
were they were the sweethearts of OVW, and they all kind of, one after another did their thing coming up in WWE and all became huge, massive stars. And now John, without a doubt, is in the GOAT conversation.
Hmm.
You whether you like him or not, you can't deny him that. And I'm not going to ever kick Randy out of that conversation.
No,
Randy
you can't.
has become, Tyler and I have discussed this several times, at the very least, top 10, if not top five performers of all time. And I think he deserves to be in that GOAT conversation for sure.
Absolutely.
After
Yeah.
after 20 years, he deserves it. And he's still doing that. His showing with Joe Hendry was fantastic. Everything was perfect. All the people who think that he buried Joe Hendry don't understand professional wrestling. That's okay. Just go watch fucking something else.
Something else.
It's, if you don't like storytelling, and you don't like, proper stuff like wrestling, it's fine. There's this show called Dynamite. It's on every Wednesday. Just go watch that. It's fine. You're okay. I won't judge you. Oh, will piss me off. I might go on a rant tonight about fans. Fans have really pissed me off over WrestleMania weekend. So many people complaining about WrestleMania. I personally loved WrestleMania. It's everything it was supposed to be. Um, People are complaining that the John Cena match was lame. Did you guys miss the part where he told us he was going to ruin wrestling? Did you miss that? Because I didn't.
So
He
so
did
here's
exactly what is supposed to be happening right now.
here's the one caveat to that if we want to get into it.
Sure.
I thought it was just a tad too slow.
I think that was the point, though.
I know. It was just and then when it really felt like it was getting kicked up into another gear, Travis Scott took the piss out of everything. Um And
And I did feel like that
I
in the moment, but letting it all sink in, I think it was what it was needed because that's what John wants to do. That's what this character is trying to do. He's
I
trying to piss us
think
off.
I think there would have been a better way to do it. I think,
Okay.
and I text our good buddy Adam Contant about it, and I said, I think they could have done it a better way, just because, like, again, Travis Scott's 10-minute entrance to the ring, really, I just felt everything kind of dragged, and I didn't think Scott played his part particularly well. I think he was just a step behind on a few things.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can find it and read it to you what I said to Adam, but I basically said like they should have gone to a point where Cody Rhodes actually starts trying to and succeeding in out wrestling Cena,
Mhm.
and at that point, that's when Scott comes down to make the save for John, but he doesn't do it like an entrance. I said he should just jump the barricade or something like that
Sure. Yeah. No, I get that, and it
with
would have
the
been just
ref
as
down.
impactful. But
And then I say, then attack Rhodes, get him back in the ring, and then Cena should have just done his finisher over
yeah,
and over and over. Just keep hitting him with
I
the
like
AA
that.
because that would have still set that message. Because remember, the tie-in would have been, remember when Lesnar started Suplex City and all he did was German suplex
Yes.
Cena
Yeah.
over and over and over again at whatever SummerSlam that was 2012, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
And people shat all over that and then
Yes.
realized, oh, this is Lesnar's new character.
Yeah.
He's gonna dominate people.
Hmm.
That's what I would have tied it into, where Cena just AA and then another AA, then another one, then another one, then another one. And then finally when the ref, comes back to, he hits him with another one and then covers him. That's how I would have done it, but
I think in the long run, I get what you're saying. I 100% get what you're saying, and yeah, that would have worked. But I do think that the people who are complaining too much about it just don't understand what they're trying to do right now, and that's
yeah.
really too bad because this is what I told Tyler right after WrestleMania was done. I felt like WrestleMania this year was Triple H writing two letters. This was a love letter to people who actually get wrestling and actually understand what he's trying to do right now. And it was a massive fuck you to the online fans, to all the people who want to do nothing but bitch and complain and all that. This was their let's give them everything they hate. Let's give them
Mm-hmm.
everything they hate.
Mm-hmm.
And they did, and it worked. And I loved it. I love every minute of it.
And then the other thing too is because it was a two-night event, you still had so much
Mm.
stuff that like I don't know how you could complain about. There was something for everyone to like throughout the two nights.
Well, I'll tell you what
So,
I really liked, and it's the thing that really inspired today's list. I liked that we have a brand new Intercontinental Champion. And don't get me wrong, I love Braun Breaker. I love him.
yeah.
And I'm very interested to see
Yeah.
what he's going to do in this new stable. By the way, just a little tap, tap, tap. I was right. Tyler was wrong. If you remember, about 3 weeks ago on the show, I called that Paul Heyman would one day be managing Braun Breaker. Sorry,
You
I
did.
did. So
Yes.
tap, tap, tap. With that said, I love Braun. He could, if he would have kept the title on him, I would have been okay. But putting the title on Dom and then having that pop for Dom was amazing. Everything
All
that's everything that's happening right now is kind of really cool because I think Dom has really earned the respect of wrestling fans. This guy ate so much shit in the beginning.
I
People
was not a fan.
hated him. In the
It
very
was
beginning, I was ready to give him time. When he
yeah.
first had his heel turn, I'm like, okay, this is gonna cook. Just give it time. This is gonna do something. When he was doing his tag run with Ray, I was like, whatever. It is what it is. I had a feeling that the heel run was going to be special. Goddamn, was I right. He's one of the greatest heels. I'd say he's top three heels in the company of the last 3, 4 years. You're gonna hate me for saying this, but it's correct. It's him, Logan Paul, and Kevin Owens. They are the three best heels in this company. Listen, hate him all you want, but there's a the reason you hate Logan Paul is because he's a good fucking heel. And the same thing can be said about Dominic Mysterio.
Logan Paul has X-Pac heat for me.
Dom is doing amazing work. I don't think they can keep him as a heel for too much longer, though. The the
Oh
the
no,
the
he's
the,
over now. The
the
Judgment
fan
Day
the
might
fans
be.
are ready to do with him what they just did with Rhea. They you know
Yeah.
what I mean? They're gonna turn him, and he's going to be a bigger name than anybody else in that Judgment Day, ever. He's gonna like be bigger than Damian. He's gonna be bigger than Rhea. He's going to be massive. I dare say, maybe one day he might rival his father.
Yeah, the growth of him as a performer and a character has been wonderful to watch. And like I said, I didn't like the heel turn initially. It wasn't until things really started ramping up with the whole mommy storyline
Mm-hmm.
that really I was like, okay, this kid might have something like that. Like when he was just like doing all the cheap heat about,
being
never.
Eddie's son, and yeah,
Yeah, and I was like, I
I
just was like, it was too easy. Like
I
I was
don't
like,
know. Yeah, I get it,
some
but
of it was hilarious.
the deadbeat dad
Like,
stuff was really good when he came out at WrestleMania in handcuffs, coming out of that truck and everything. That was great. The guy,
yeah, yeah,
the
you're
guy,
right.
the guy spent. We're going kayfabe here. The character spent an hour in a holding cell,
Yeah,
and he acted like he was in Guantanamo Bay for
yeah,
10 years. Genius stuff. Like he
yeah.
was just so easy to hate, and he did everything. That whole turning on his dad story worked so well. And if you notice this, so apparently, after he won the title at WrestleMania, he started going on his way back.
Hmm.
And Triple H jumped on the radio and said, "No, no, no,
Yes,
no.
tell him to come back in.
Tell him to go back because the fans need this."
Yes.
So he went and did the round, right? Did you see what he did on his round though?
No,
He made sure to find his mom in the crowd and shove the title in her face.
really?
Genius stuff. Like I love that he's keeping that going. I love it. Good for him. I'm
So
very
good.
I'm very proud of Dom. I'm very glad to see his success, and that he
Yeah.
didn't just give in or give up when
No.
people were not
But
believing it.
again, this new kind of direction of WWE is give him time to breathe.
Mm.
Let him figure it out. He's gonna go out and make mistakes, but he's got our
Mark
backing,
mark
and
my
and and
words.
they've partnered him. He has been surrounded with the best mentors and on-screen people to play off of, but whether it's been Finn, whether it's been Rhea Ripley, now Liv Morgan, like they have found gold, or
Exactly.
everything he's been touching has turned to gold. Like it's unbelievable.
Mark my words. Come January, if neither Dom nor Braun Breaker wins the Royal Rumble, they fucked
You're
up
gonna
something.
riot.
Yeah, that's it. What would Triple H say? I'm going to tweet my displeasure. I
That's funny.
no, the one of those two will win the Royal Rumble. Just it's just a matter of who and what story they want to tell
So do
at that point in time.
you want to say why that has influenced the list before we get
Well,
too
yes.
off
Well,
topic there?
we're talking. I'm assuming if you already clicked on the link, you know what the list is this week. But if you did so with your eyes closed for some reason, we are counting down the 7 greatest Intercontinental Championship matches to happen at Backlash. Now, we're very close to the 20th edition of Backlash, the 20th. Now, before you start doing the math and say that doesn't make sense, Backlash started in 1999. There was a span of years between like 2009 and 2016 or something like that
Yes.
where there was no Backlash. Um,
And
and then there was no Backlash in 2021, I want to say.
the Intercontinental title hasn't been defended
Well,
at
that's it.
every Backlash
And
as well. So,
exactly. So out of the 20, well, let's say 19 backlashes, it's only been defended at 9. That's an extremely low number, but I'm getting used to not seeing the IC title on cards. It's a sad truth.
and I
Uh,
think it should probably be 10. I think they've got to give Dom a match at Backlash this year.
and that's why I wanted to do this list because I think you'd be dumb not to. Dom is over. You have to, Triple H keeps saying it's like we're gonna put the people who are earning those spots in those spots. Well, no one's more over than Dom right now, so you got to put him on that card, right?
I
Only makes
I
sense.
think so.
I don't know who against. Probably Finn.
It
You
might
know?
be too early. Again, like I just said, they really have a tendency to let things breathe right now
Yeah,
in the WWE because I think that speaks to the strength of their roster overall and the fact that they have 3 hour Raws and 3 hour SmackDowns every week now. You aren't going to get tired of seeing the same people all the time because they aren't there all the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
When we went to Elimination Chamber, there was only what, 5 matches?
yeah, yeah.
And I was, on the drive down with Adam going,
Actually, I think it was
we're
four.
gonna
It was 4 matches and a segment,
two
wasn't it?
chambers,
Yeah,
a tag,
yeah,
the women's tag,
yeah. And then
Owens and
yeah,
Owens and Zayn.
yeah. So 4 matches and a segment.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
Same thing with the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble was only 4 matches.
Yeah,
Two Rumbles, 2 matches. Mhm.
yeah.
And that's okay.
So
That's okay. We don't need
that's okay.
this
Yeah.
isn't the Attitude Era.
The only
We
thing I
don't
would
need
say
16 3-minute matches.
And the only thing I would say is like the one thing that I think that hurts is like if you're going to see it live, there might be some people that you miss seeing, right? Like I
That's
you
gonna
know what?
happen no matter what.
Yeah.
But
Well, I remember back in 2002, 2003. No, it was after No Way Out 2003. Yes. So going into uh WrestleMania 19.
yeah,
I was at the Raw after No Way Out was in Montreal. I was
yeah.
at the Raw in Toronto, and the only main guy that showed up at Raw that night was The Rock. And my dad was so pissed off because at No Way Out, Hogan was there, Austin was there, Triple H was there. None of those guys showed up on the Raw card.
Oh, but I don't find it any different than going to any concert, for example.
Sure, and not
Okay,
getting to hear a specific
you
song.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand. You're gonna be pissed off. You paid 150. I'm sorry, this is 2025. You paid $200,000 to for nosebleed tickets to see GNR, and they didn't play "You Could Be Mine."
Yeah.
There's a 50-50 shot. A song like "You Could Be Mine," being, it's not November Rain, it's not
Sweet Child of Mine.
Welcome to the
Yeah.
Jungle. So there's a 50-50 chance they're going to play a song like that. Now it's a song that everybody loves, but there's a 50-50 chance you're not going to hear it that night. I find the same thing with professional wrestling. You're going to see a couple names. There's a couple names are going to be on that card, but there's also a lot. There's only so much room. There's only
hmm
so much time. There's a lot of people you're not going to see, and you have to give into that before you buy those
Absolutely.
tickets. It's just one of those things.
Card subject to change.
That's it. Is there, unless it's 1998? I went to a house show in '98 where not everybody was on the card, including Vince McMahon, at a
Oh
house
yeah, I
show.
remember you telling me.
At a
Yeah.
house show.
Yeah.
The '90s were
That's
crazy.
wild.
I'll talk shit about the Attitude Era all day long, but man, they got some things right.
They sure did.
All right, man. Is there anything else that you want to hit before we oh, there is something. You had a question
Oh
you
yeah,
wanted
I
you
was gonna
wanted to hit me
ask
with.
you,
Yes.
how did I word it? Let me go find our Facebook chat real quick. Something
Mhm.
about WrestleMania entrances,
You
right?
you wanted to know how I felt about WrestleMania entrances, right? About the grandiose ones,
Two.
anyways.
Oh man, we talked a lot today. Okay, so I said, how do you feel about all the special slash gimmick entrances at Mania? And do you have any strong feelings on it?
um, I feel like you wouldn't have asked me this if you didn't have your own opinion. So I'm looking forward to that. But my take is always that I look forward to them. Always have.
Okay.
Going all the way back to WrestleMania 12 with Sean coming down on the zip line. You know, after Sean came down the zip line, it was almost after that. Then the very next year, Steve Austin made his entrance with that glass shattering in the entranceway. Two very simple things, but for 1996 and 1997, that was very cool. Excuse me. So moving forward, and then guys like Undertaker and Triple H and John Cena, they've kind of set the bar where you expect a couple grandiose entrances at WrestleMania. If I
And
don't get
Undertaker.
if yeah, that's yeah. If I don't get that, I'm a little upset. Well, this year didn't disappoint, I'll tell you that. All three entrances in that triple threat match were phenomenal. Those That was one of my favorite parts of WrestleMania. All three of them. Punk, Roman, and uh, Seth all had great entrances. I really enjoyed them. One of my favorite entrances was John Cena's because he didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything.
Black light, just his name in plain
Just
white
his
writing.
name.
Loved it. Loved it. It's exactly what we needed.
That was the other thing I was going to say about the ending of Cena's matches. If I was booking it, once he won the title, I would just hit the lights and
Yeah.
have him walk out with the title.
The fact that he
No
walked out with it,
fireworks.
yeah, the fact that he walked out with it backwards was
Yes.
fantastic. Loved
Like
every
that's what
bit
I
of
would
it.
have done. Just like
Yeah.
had his music at a low volume. Like I wouldn't have
Yep.
done the fireworks, but WWE kind of they were kind of in a rock and between a rock and a hard place
Yeah.
where like you do want to celebrate the moment. That is historic,
It is
right?
historic.
Like
You have to do something. It's
yeah,
the first ever 17-time champion. You
yeah.
have to do something. All
But
right.
it also kind of took away from his heelish moment. Anyway,
So
back to what.
when it comes to entrances, then I have a feeling you wouldn't have asked me this if you didn't have a hot take.
So I was watching someone else's WrestleMania review today, and I just felt like it seemed like a lot. The entrances for the triple threat, amazing, especially with the CM Punk
Mm-hmm.
history
History.
video, and
Yes.
then
Loved it.
Living Color was out there.
Right?
That was awesome. That was awesome. Um,
I love the little spot. I think they've done it before too, but I love it when Paul goes over and he checks his
yes,
watch, shows it. What's that? It's
and
clobbering
then
time. I love that.
they
Yeah.
take the selfie
Yeah, that was great.
while they're playing,
Yeah.
right? Like and Roman with the history
Loved
of his
that.
family.
How
That
all
was
those
so
because
cool.
those things were hanging from the rafters
Yes, I
the
thought it
whole
was
weekend.
AI.
Yeah, the whole weekend they were hanging from the rafters. They lowered them to body level
Yeah,
to show all the pictures of all the people in his family.
yeah.
I found one thing interesting. I don't know if anybody caught this, and I haven't talked to anybody about it. Did you notice a certain person missing from those pictures? Yeah.
Missing? No, I was trying to like they're
Did you?
going through them pretty quick. Like they even had Yoko on there.
Yeah, yeah. Did you notice The Rock wasn't on there?
Yes, you're right.
Very interesting to me.
Hmm.
It could mean nothing.
Interesting.
It could mean nothing,
Yeah.
but I found it very interesting because everybody else was on there. Rikishi was on there.
Yep.
Umaga was on there. Yoko was
Yeah.
on there. Every like the only one missing maybe was Rosie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's right.
everybody, Atha, Sika, they were all on there. But no
The
Rock.
Rock was not
Very interesting to
interesting.
me. Right?
Um, but yeah, again, like I thought some of it was a lot. Like, did the War Raiders need to come out dressed as Clash of Clans characters?
I mean,
Like,
it's WrestleMania. You gotta let these guys have fun. The New Day has been doing it since day one. They
Yes,
come out in their
but that's what I mean.
cosplay,
Like that's part of their thing, right?
you
And I think
know.
sometimes when it's every single person that gets it, some of it I think gets um some of it feels cheapened a little bit. Like even the Tiffany Stratton one, like I thought it was
The,
cool
the the
with
the
the
Barbie box and everything. I thought that was great.
I
Yeah.
thought it was great for sure, but then the next night when Bianca Belair has a thing and all the people are skipping, I'm just like, okay, like
Eh,
that was like
I'm
I don't
okay.
know.
It for me, it's WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania. Do it up. Go cheesy. Go stupid. Go everything on WrestleMania. Rest of the year, I don't want that crap unless it's for one person on a special night, something like that. But
Sure.
WrestleMania, man, give Hornswoggle a fucking shoot Hornswoggle out of a cannon for all I care. I'm cool with it. I really
All
am.
right.
All right, so I am giving you the pleasure today, my friend. We both created lists for this. I am interested to see how they differ. Especially considering there's only 9 matches, but only 7 can make. I'm interested to see if we left the same 2 off, and I guarantee we did not, because I know your taste in wrestling. I know the people you like, and I know that there's a match on mine that you're gonna question why I left off. And
Okay.
I'll get there when I get there. But
I
but I want to see your list, so I'm gonna let you do your list, and then I'll do mine when you're done, really quickly.
so a little preamble.
Yes.
This was honestly like a tremendous experience to kind of go
Hmm.
through because I felt like each match, and I did this actually chronologically. I went from
Me
1999
too.
through to 2018,
I did the same thing. Yeah.
and I thought it was such an accurate snapshot into kind of what the IC title represents
Hmm.
at that time in history and what it says about where the company is and the work rate of the
Yes.
guys in the ring
And it
competing for
also,
those titles.
watching it chronologically also showed me, number one, how I've matured as a fan.
Yeah,
Because I feel a lot different about the stuff in 1999 than I do now. You know
sure.
what I mean? Like in 1999, I was an 18-year-old kid and I loved the Attitude Era. Now I look back going, oh, the whole train. Oh no. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Blue meanie. Good Lord.
yeah,
But I had to go back and watch it and remember, it was 99. I have to remember that it's 1999. But then you keep watching and you remember
yeah.
what you liked and didn't like about every era of wrestling, going from
Yes.
99 to 2000 and what was
18.
18. Uh, And then we'll talk about it when we get there, if we get there, if it's on your
Yeah,
list. But 2016, we get there.
yeah,
And I remembered how much I despised wrestling in 2016 because there was no alternative. You only had WWE at the time. I hated TNA at this point. I was starting to come around on TNA slowly,
hmm
but
It was
TNA
starting to get good. Like
it
Scott
was
Demore was
starting.
really starting
We
to
got no Scott. I don't know if Scotty was back yet by 16.
2016.
I'm not
Oh,
sure,
okay.
but 16 they were starting to do the. Oh no, you might be right,
Because
but
I
I think
don't think
but
they had like a lot of
they
the
they
big
were
names
they
left by
they were starting
2016.
they were starting to do the delete stuff at this point.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so
that's right.
that was the stuff
Yes.
getting me back on, and but other than that, WWE was the only real big show in town, and I hated them. Their products sucked, dude. I'm not gonna say where I put um
Miz and Ziggler.
Miz and Ziggler on my list, or even if they're on my list. But what I will say about this was rewatching it was torture. Um, the things I hated about 2016, as much as I love Mauro Ronaldo, fuck that guy.
Yes.
Um, the commentary sucked. The team of him, JBL, and Otunga, dog shit. The sets were so boring. There was nothing interesting or cool or edgy or worth looking at. The set was so boring. And the worst thing ever I think this is just when Kevin Dunn started his seizure testing, when he started the quick cuts every 5 seconds, if probably not even every 2 seconds. I It was such a culture shock going from 2009 or whatever it was to 2016 and being like, oh, the cinematography here is garbage. Like I almost couldn't watch it.
I agree with you on a lot of that stuff because it was getting hard for me to watch. You and Tyler the other day talked about WrestleMania 38, I
Mm-hmm.
believe. And about how how great of a night two was, I believe, because it ended
Sure.
with Owens and Austin.
Yeah, yeah. Or night
Okay.
one, yeah. But yeah.
Um, honestly,
But no, but it was during
that
Dunn's. Yeah.
I've watched that match once and I wish I could watch it again, but I know it's going to make me throw up.
I,
Because
I
as soon as
understand it.
Austin gets out of the chair and starts doing this,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know it.
like the
I know it.
cameras, like
That
it's ridiculous.
that's
It
how I
is
felt. That's how I
ridiculous.
felt during this match with Dolphin Miz. 100%. Okay. Do you have any criteria we need to know about? Is this just about if it's a good match or not?
Um,
Does it need to do anything for the Backlash pay-per-view? What were you going off of?
I was honestly just going off of what match um entertained me. Like
Good
that's kind of
enough.
what I was going for. Like
Simple is
and
better, man. I like
what
it.
was like I honestly based a lot of it on screw off. I based a lot of it on um oh man, sorry. My
You
computer's
okay?
acting weird here. Yeah.
That's okay.
I based a lot of it off of the work rate of the match. Like the in-ring stuff itself, as well as what story were they kind of telling in the ring.
Yeah.
And the presentation of them telling that story. So
Hmm.
um and I think I was gonna pitch this to you, but it would have been changing the format a lot instead of
Right.
doing it as a list. But because there's only 9 matches, I was gonna say, what if you just took the 9 matches and booked them all as if they were one pay-per-view? How would you
Ooh.
go from main event? What would be your main event? What would be your opener? And then what would
As
be your
much as I
middle?
love that idea, it's
Yeah.
2025. I can't do a nine match pay-per-view anymore, man. Come on. Come on. I need to be in bed by 11.
So instead, the risk of keeping 2 matches off the list. But yeah, let's start with it.
All right, let's do it.
Um,
Let's start off hot. I want to see where your number seven lies because I think that's going to give me an idea of where our lists are going to line up.
okay. Number 7 is the tag team match. It's the Power Trip, Austin and Triple H against the Brothers of Destruction. It is a winner take all match. This is from Backlash 2001. It was the main event
Hmm.
of Backlash 2001, and it was Austin as the WF champion, Triple H as the Intercontinental champion,
Hmm.
and Undertaker and Kane as the tag team champions. And like I said, it was a winner take all match.
Yeah.
I always thought that this was always a neat concept when it was utilized properly, having
Yes.
singles titles on the line in tag matches. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. They've done this, like I know King of the Ring 2000 was a 6-man tag match,
Mm,
and the winner would be WWF champion, and The Rock pinned Vince McMahon,
yeah.
so Triple H lost the title.
Dumb.
Like
Yeah.
that. This one, everybody has something on the line going into it,
Yes.
right?
Whoever.
Everyone's got a strap over their shoulder,
Mhm.
right? And the concept is simple. If whoever you pin, you get their title,
Yeah.
right? This also it felt like a big match. Like this
It
coming
was
off of
massive.
coming off of WrestleMania 7,
Mhm.
Austin has just turned heel. Triple H has joined them, and
And
they're going around beating up literally everybody on the
this is
card.
before his heel turn went sour. This is when his heel turn was still okay, what's he gonna do? Like this. I liked his heel turn pretty much until Triple H got hurt only 3 weeks later, unfortunately.
Yeah,
And then they didn't know what to do with him. They ended up sticking him with the alliance thing
yeah,
and doing the stuff with Kurt and stuff like that. And yeah, it was funny, but he was also injured, so that didn't help.
yes.
So it
Thanks,
kind of
Booker
went
T.
right. It went south from there. But that initial the 2-man power trip was phenomenal.
Um,
It's too bad that Triple H's quads decided that
they didn't want to work
it was
anymore.
not to be.
Well, okay, so you mentioned the funny stuff with the Alliance and or with Kurt Angle and Vince McMahon and all this stuff.
Yeah.
The beginning of this match, Triple H gets, raked in the eyes. And
Hmm.
then on the outside of the ring, Triple H or Austin is going over, like checking on Triple H, and I'm like, that's the start of like the humor there, right? Because he's like all
Yes.
concerned about his buddy. Like we've never seen Austin be concerned
No.
about someone else, right?
Any
But he's like grabbing his face and he's like blowing in his eye. He's like, "You all right, man?" Like, and I'm like, that's funny. Like,
because he was smart enough to know that he was going to do everything that we didn't want to see from Steve Austin.
yes,
Steve Austin was always that guy. DTA, only
yes,
look out for number one. He doesn't care about anybody but himself.
yeah,
But I'm healed now. What can I do to make people not think I'm that guy anymore? So we did everything opposite. It's exactly what Cena's doing right now.
yes,
I'm going to give you the opposite of what I used to be. So he did. He showed not compassion by any means, but he showed concern,
yes.
if not false concern for his partner. It was fantastic stuff.
So again, I really like this match. The stuff that, puts it a little lower on the list, is I felt it went a little long, when
Mm-hmm.
once they start to isolate Kane a little bit, it feels like it drags. Although they are telling that story, Kane only has one arm, right? The other arm is
and
injured
they
and
and they
and
told
they
that story phenomenally
for sure, but
with the chair shots to it.
oh,
The
that was brutal
you
when he
know
had it on
the
the table.
yeah
Boom.
the finish with the sledgehammer to the elbow. It was great.
Um, although I hate this logic where Undertaker had the match won. Hebner goes over to count the pinfall and then realizes, oh, Undertaker, you're not the legal man.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, 2 minutes later, chaos ensues
I
and everybody's in the ring, and then Hebner just counts the
that was
pinfall
a big
anyway. And I'm
that was
like,
a big problem
okay,
from that was a big problem from 99 to 2002. I don't know why they bothered having referees.
I
Referees did not
know.
know their jobs for that span of years, and it pissed me off.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna
Again,
be
like
honest.
lots of Gaga, lots of fun.
Yes,
And again, this felt like a big match because these were the pillars of the
one
WWE. I mean,
100%.
Kurt Angle had already been WWF champion. Jericho and Benoit were just about to get into that title picture,
Yeah,
but I mean, these four guys, like,
and it was a cool story because there were four guys who have all been champions.
yeah,
The only person that needed something in this thing was Triple H. Triple H had never been tag champion before, so
yes, and
so he was gunning for something. But the rest of them, they'd all been WWE champion. Taker could have earned something because he's never been Intercontinental champion. So it was very cool to see that kind of dynamic in there.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that was my number seven. Again, just it just lost some points for me because again, it felt like it dragged a little bit.
Yep.
And I thought the finish was a little bit overbooked with Vince coming down and Stephanie getting involved and the weird. You're not the legal man.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I guess I don't know who the legal man is. I'm gonna count
Well,
the pinfall.
you know what? I changed what I decided to do. I'm not going to wait till the end of the list to tell you my spots.
Okay,
I'm going to tell you spot for spot. This was also my number seven
amazing. Okay,
for a lot of the same reasons that you just mentioned. And I loved this match a lot more than I thought I would remember liking it. I had a couple matches. This was one of the matches that I thought for sure was going to be written off because on paper you're like, this is going to be a schmodge. This is just going to be too much. And I was never a big fan of the Brothers of Destruction. I'm like,
Okay.
there's too many other really good matches on here, I'm sure. But then I watch it, I'm just like, no, this match has to be on the card. It's too good not to be on the list. But it has the seventh spot because of the ref work. It's just like I said, it's too nonsensical. You can't call rules 1 second and then stand there while a guy gets decimated with a chair the next. I hate that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It just doesn't make any sense. So that's why it's number seven, but it had to be on the card because it's a phenomenally fun match.
absolutely. All right.
Off
On
to
to
off
my
to a good start. Number six.
on to my number six. And well, we already talked about it. Let's see if it is on your list. We're going with The Miz and Dolph Ziggler from 2016.
Interesting.
Yes, the presentation is not good.
No,
However, The Miz and Ziggler in the ring and the story they told was very, very well done. These guys put on a hell of a wrestling match.
mm-hmm.
And again, this is just like, yes, at the time, I feel like I was really just starting to come back into WWE at this time too, and part of it was because of the work rate of
Yeah,
guys like The Miz and Ziggler.
yeah.
Um, Great heel finish
Of
with
course, with
Marie
Maurice.
spraying
Yep.
Ziggler in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Like
The fact that it didn't lead to a blindfold match at the next year's WrestleMania is very disappointing. But
sure.
come on,
Um, yeah, and Ziggler it just shows like why, many considered him one of the best in the world at the time, and The Miz was hanging in there with him, shot for shot. They pulled out some really good moves, some nice counters. There was good heat on The Miz.
this match was fast. This match was hard hitting. This match was intense, and that's just the camera cuts. This match had great psychology. Two of the best workers of that era, just doing what they do best. Um, I agree with you 100%. As much as I hated the presentation, everything surrounding it, I hated everything else about this show. I don't think you'll be able to pay me to watch the rest of this pay-per-view.
I was reading something just before coming on with you, and it said nothing following this is worth watching,
Mm,
or anything before it is worth
I,
watching either.
100%. Um, but the match itself was great, and this is actually my number five.
Crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to quickly check because I'm gonna feel bad. I bet Tyler's yelling at us right now because there's probably, uh, Usos beat the Hype Bros. Bray Wyatt beat Randy Orton by a forfeit, and
Their
then
their
intense.
their
Oh,
feud wasn't as good as it could have been.
And then Kane came down and beat Bray Wyatt by pinfall in a no holds barred match. So,
That's
yeah,
weird.
that's stupid. And then we had Heath Slater and the Usos for the finals of the tag team tournament for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, and then AJ Styles defeated Dean Ambrose for the WWE Championship. So I'm
Yeah,
sure that's a fine match, right? But I mean, when you've got The Miz and Ziggler working for 18 minutes the way they did, it's going to be hard to top that.
agreed. All
All
right,
right.
so your number six is my number five. Let's see where your number five lands.
My number five, we are going to Backlash 2006. RVD and Shelton Benjamin.
Okay.
Benjamin is the heel Intercontinental Champion. RVD was the face Money in the Bank contract holder. Man, did these guys kick the hell out of each other?
Mm-hmm.
Did they do some crazy spots? Um, it was fast. And I thought the finish was creative. It was a very of its time finish
Yeah, it really was.
for them to have the distraction and then RVD to hit the Van Daminator on the
Yeah.
briefcase on
Yeah.
Sheldon. Um, I liked it. You know, it there wasn't a lot of time where it really slowed down, and I think both men came out looking pretty good. Maybe Sheldon looks a little dumb for catching the briefcase in the first place, but you know, Van Dam's got to hit the Van Daminator somehow. So
It's very interesting to me. I'm very interested to find out what you left off your list.
okay.
Now I have a very good idea of one of them. Because if it wasn't your number seven, that there's no fucking way it's anywhere else. Uh, but the other one, I have no idea because this is the match I left off my list.
Okay.
I found this match to be honestly somewhat boring. Um,
Really?
when it comes compared to the rest of everything else, yeah. I didn't find it to be special compared to the rest of the matches on the list.
Okay.
It was a standard RVD match, and that's great. This is an era of Shelton that I didn't dig his heel run. You
Okay.
know what I mean? I wasn't a fan of Shelton at this point in time, so this match just didn't do it for me. And the even the concept of the winner take all between these two things, I'm like, I don't care. So yeah, no, this one did not make my list at all.
Okay. So there you go. Let's
So
move on
I'm
to
interested to know which one did not make yours because it'll be one of my top four, which is
right.
really funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Number four,
Hmm.
we are going to 2018, the last one where the IC
Yeah.
title was defended at Backlash. The Miz and Seth Rollins.
Match
I
is
mean,
amazing.
man. So when I found out that it led off the show, I just let the intro play. So I watched like the preamble because I was like, maybe there's something else on this show I'm gonna want to watch.
Sure.
There's not.
No.
And then they go from the package right to a shot of the crowd, and it is the worst pay-per-view intro ever. Michael Cole just goes, "Well, we're here for Backlash in a sold-out arena, guys."
I'm sorry, but
Yep.
by 2018, I think morale was at an all-time low in WWE. I do
Okay.
think this is where Vince McMahon was at his most tyrannous. He was
Mm-hmm.
being, nobody wanted to work for him, wanted to work for this company. There's this new company not out yet, but there's rumors. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's places to go. The indie scene is getting hotter than ever, and maybe WWE is not the only show in town. So
Well, when they can't even do pyro to begin their damn shows anymore.
that's it. And the budget cuts were insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2018 wasn't exactly the greatest year for WWE, and that shows in the production. Where it doesn't show is in the work rate because Seth Rollins and The
Yes.
Miz put on what I consider the third best match on this list. This is
So
your fourth, but this is my number three. I absolutely adore this match. I don't think it needed to be over 20 minutes long. I think they could have shaved 5 minutes off this match.
I thought though every time it started to slow down, they would pick it up again. Like
Yeah,
I really felt like it was paced well. For a 20-minute match, I thought it was paced well. A 20-minute opener.
for those people, and I know there's a lot of people, for those people who still, after 20 years, are sleeping on The Miz,
Oh, get out of here.
please go watch this match
Yeah.
because Miz shows that after all these years, I understand this match is like 8 years ago, but it shows he can still do it. He can still go. He's still amazing. He really is,
But also
or awesome, as it were.
this is also an era where the the agents and the bookers were all about let's kick out of finishers.
Yeah,
Now, I don't think that hurt this match because Miz hits his finisher twice and Rollins kicks out, and the story they're telling is that even through Rollins' injured leg, he's going to keep battling, right? Um, and yeah, I liked the finish with the reversal into that huge curb stomp. That
Sure.
was cool, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was getting to that point where I'm sure the rest of the show had tons of other finisher kickouts, and
Yeah.
like I can imagine it
I
it would have dragged on. So I mean, honestly, again, good luck trying to follow this match up for the people on the card for the rest of the night. But
listen. I have this thing. Our mutual friend Ray, he and I always laugh at the fact that there's a stigma against the curtain jerker, as it were. I'm sorry, but I've said this for years and years. If you can't be the main event, you want to be first because you want to be that guy to say, beat that motherfucker.
yeah,
And they went out and they did that night.
they
And I
did
don't
that.
and I guarantee nobody beat that on that particular evening.
I liked that part of the story too was the Miz, if he had won, he would have tied Jericho's reign for most Intercontinental Championship reigns.
Yeah, that's right. Eh?
That was part of the
Yeah.
story of the match, right? So yeah, it was cool. It was
Let's
it's a damn good match.
can we take a second too? Because I know the guy's got a lot of haters, and I want to just take a second and give some flowers to Seth Rollins. Is this guy
Who
not
hates this guy?
too many
After
people? It's so dumb. Can we not finally say that he is one of the greatest performers of this generation,
yes, absolutely.
without question?
You
You know
can't
what I
you
mean? Um, Tyler
go
asked
back and
me.
watch this match. Go watch
Ty,
Rollins and Miz. Like,
Tyler asked me a question right before WrestleMania, and I didn't know how to answer it. But he asked me, he said, "Is Seth Rollins the most underappreciated wrestler today?"
hmm, maybe.
And I think that's right because I don't think enough people give him his flowers. I don't think enough people, maybe they just take him for granted. He's always going to be the guy, but he always puts on solid matches. Hate him for being annoying or whatever. That's his character. It's a
Yeah.
great character.
Same thing
I
with
I
Chelsea
love him,
Green,
love
right?
him for
She
it.
is
Yeah,
so annoying, but
but
man, when that
goddamn, is
bell
she good at
rings,
what she
oh
does?
yeah.
Seth is going to go down as possibly maybe not the Cena, but like the Randy Orton of this generation.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
easily.
Or the
Well, I
Edge,
mean,
or possibly the Edge. You know?
you guys talked about it quite a bit going into that main event on like, is Seth Rollins, does he just feel like the spare guy? And I was like yelling at my podcast player at you guys. I'm like, guys, like he is he is the reason, to me anyway, that Roman and Punk were coming together.
I agree,
Roman,
but I just don't feel like that was being properly represented in the story in the beginning.
okay.
I don't think they did Seth right until the last 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, because to me, it was like, it felt like it was all set up to me by Seth
Yeah,
with the curb stomp at Elimination Chamber on Punk,
sure.
plus the curb stomp on Roman at the
At
Rumble.
Rumble. Yeah,
And that story of like, Roman can't let that go.
yeah.
You
And
know,
the fact that it
it's
came
Batman and Joker, right? If Roman is Batman, Seth is his Joker because he's
100%.
always one step ahead,
Yeah,
and he can't let him go. And the thing with Punk was, he's like, Punk, you shouldn't even be here. This is my company.
yeah,
Go back to the one that you wanted to leave and start on your own, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Loved it.
Yeah.
In the end, this might be a spoiler for next week's show. I do think that triple threat match may have been the best match at WrestleMania this year. Without a doubt, the best story told, possibly.
Hmm. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. And for anyone that's questioning Seth Rollins,
right?
watch this year's WrestleMania or go back to 2018 and watch this one.
just
Like,
just watch him over the last
yeah,
15 years. He's phenomenal.
yeah. So let's move on then. We're into the top three.
We are officially into your top three. I'm very interested to see, because at least what did you leave out? I'm so all right. Let's go. Rip it off.
Number 3
Yeah.
is Backlash 2000, Benoit
Okay.
and Jericho.
Yeah.
Um, some of the stuff Chris Benoit does is just jarring to watch sometimes.
Sure.
The the tope to the outside, and Jericho just moves and collides head first into the floor
Yeah.
like 2 minutes into the match. Like, man, it's just some of the stuff he does. You're like, this guy had no care for his body,
Yeah,
right?
well,
And
I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, I
I'd like
know.
to say I'd
And
like to
it's
see he
hard.
paid for it, but others paid
It's
for it.
and it is hard to talk about sometimes,
Yes.
but I mean that this was so well paced. The counters were so quick. They would go into a rest hold, but even the rest holds looked aggressive.
Yes.
Like Benoit's got Jericho in
Which
an
they always did.
abdominal
He was
stretch.
an artist when it came to that.
Absolutely.
And I believe he probably learned that all from Dean Malenko. Him and Malenko, and even if you go back even farther to the Dynamite Kid,
Yeah.
Dynamite was really good for stuff like that too. You make the rest holds, they're called rest holds for a reason. You are trying to take a rest as a worker,
But that
but
doesn't mean you take a
but the
nap.
fan but the fans can't take a rest.
Yes.
You need to be able to, like, that. There's where the art lies. The art lies in you being able to take a breather without the fans understanding or realizing you're doing it.
Mhm.
Benoit was good at that. Benoit could take his breather while you think he's murdering Jericho. And he
And
was
then
so good at that.
Jericho was also very good at making everything look painful
At the
too,
selling,
right?
yeah, of course.
Um,
Jericho's a champ at selling.
So I thought the story that they were telling about like Benoit using his technical skills to gain all these like small advantages
Mm-hmm.
was really interesting. While Jericho is just out there just pulling out every move. He pulls out the double power bomb at one point to try and put Benoit away. Um, you could also tell that even though, I mean, yes, these guys by this point had known each other for quite a long time. They were just getting ready to know each other on this kind of a stage, but you
Yeah,
could tell they were already so comfortable working with each other.
yeah.
Because I mean, the match starts out with the back and forth with the chops, and it's like, man, like they can hear those in the rafters, right? Um, I thought what kind of hurt it, and this kind of moved down my list a couple times, and then it kept sneaking back up, only because I felt the camera angle on the finish was a bit of a letdown.
Okay. So that's when
It
we're gonna
wasn't
start.
it
We're gonna
wasn't
have this
until
conversation.
they showed the replay
Yeah,
of Jericho holding the belt up and Benoit going headfirst into the belt
yeah.
that it was like, oh, I
So
see. I see. There you go. There's the pun. I see what they did there with the IC
ah,
title.
I like that. All right. So um this was my number four. So we've just reversed our threes and fours.
Yeah.
Okay. Your number three was my number four. My number four was your number three. Um, being at the number four spot is not bad. Okay. Yeah, it's not top three, but it's still a good spot to be on. It means I really did enjoy the match, but there's three matches that are better, and the reason there's three matches that are better is because I was taken out of it for two reasons. Number one, this isn't fair to them because I wouldn't have felt like this watching it the first time. But the fact of the matter is, I have watched all their matches together, and they've had better
They
matches.
have better matches than
You know
this
what I
for
mean?
sure.
And I
Yes.
shouldn't. If that probably shouldn't affect how I feel about this match, but knowing for a fact that they've had way better matches than this does affect it for me. But the big effect for me was the finish.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of DQ finishes, especially on pay-per-view, unless it really, really is going to mean something. I'm not even that mad about the DQ finish. I'm like you. I'm mad that the DQ finish was so fucking confusing. The fact that you had to sit there going, wait, what just happened there? There's no reason for that. Um, Reason number 999 why we can sit here and complain about Kevin Dunn. Fuck Kevin Dunn. The fact that he
At
had a,
least there was no
you know,
quick zooms on
the,
this.
the the fact that he had a career as long as he did is fucking mind-boggling. So that's the only reason it's my number four. But you know what? Number four isn't number five, six, or seven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it definitely isn't Gold Dust versus the Godfather. So you know,
Well,
which
weird
which,
because number two,
which I'm going to tell you right now, that wasn't a horrible match. I enjoyed that match. When I watched it, I'm like, wow, I think I have my number seven. When I watch it, I thought for sure, I'm like, I think that's my number seven. And then I watched the
I
rest.
had the exact same
Right,
thought
right,
because I like it when wrestling matches can make me either laugh with what they're doing,
yeah,
or sometimes I just laugh. Like I laughed at part of the Miz Rollins match because I'm like, how are they doing? Like it's just like how are they doing some of this stuff? Like
yeah.
it looks so stiff and like sometimes that just makes me laugh. So I'm like, I know that doesn't feel good. Like you know what I mean?
And another
But the
thing is,
stuff in
one of the
Goldust and
things that,
Godfather was like
yeah,
it was a fun
it
match.
was a fun match, but one of the things that took me out of it was time. Um, knowing, looking back, knowing that later in time we actually let really good wrestlers wrestle. Um, I watched that going, I know they're good. I know they're both very talented men. Why aren't they being able to show that? Oh yes, because it's 1999, it's the Attitude Era, and wrestlers weren't supposed to wrestle. It was what it was.
Nobody cares about
That
the match, bro.
that takes me out of it. Oh fuck Christ.
Nobody cares
So
about the match.
so that takes me out of it. That's why that's not on
Um,
the list.
do you
However,
do you want me to give you what I thought on that one then? Since you know it is an
obviously
honorable
it's not
mention
on
for
your
me.
list. Yes,
It
go
isn't.
for it.
I thought the line, if you're gonna have a hoe, you might as well have a happy hoe was great JRism.
Yeah.
Um, I did, however, I love that sort of in juxtapositions to today's entrances, right from the first note, from when Goldust Shattered Dreams hits to when The Godfather's that first piano note
Yeah.
and the crowd reacts instantly. I freaking love that.
100%. That's one thing that can be said positively about the Attitude Era. It was hot. The fans were always hot, no matter who you were. You were going to get a pop. That
Yeah.
was that was the one good thing about the Attitude Era. One spot I did love about this match, since you brought up Shattered Dreams, was the Shattered Dream shots on
Yes.
Mimi. I thought that was
Yeah,
genius. I
so
thought that was
Goldust gets blinded,
yeah,
and then, but that's again, it makes me laugh because
that's so
Mimi
funny because
is
that
literally
that's
screaming
so
at he's
yes,
screaming at
it's
the top of his
stupid.
lungs,
Yes, it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But
and he
that's
still
but
gets kicked.
that's old school gimmicky,
Yes,
cheesy, corny ass wrestling. And
yes,
sometimes that's okay. You know what I mean?
yes.
And in a match like that, I'm glad we're talking about it because the fact of the matter is I wanted it to be on this list so we could talk about it.
So
It just couldn't be.
so I wrote this was at a time where the IC title really did feel like just a prop and not
Yes.
as a way to elevate guys. Like as much as I love Godfather and Goldust, and you can't undervalue their work rate, like you were talking about. You can't undervalue their work rate, their in-ring talent, or their charisma. These are
Yeah.
just two characters
This
that were never going to be in the main event picture. But they were two guys that were perfect for these mid-card stories and these mid-card matches, and that's what the IC title was, a
the
mid-card prop.
the interesting thing about this is um this is shortly after the 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 workhorse title era has ended.
Hmm.
Okay, we are no longer in the workhorse title era of the championship. But the funny thing is, who was a big component of the workhorse era? Goldust.
Yes.
Goldust used to have phenomenal matches
Phenomenal.
against guys like Triple H
Triple H.
and Ahmed Johnson and Razor Ramon and all these guys for the IC title. He was part of the workhorse era. So to see him be part of the post workhorse era, I almost feel bad for him because he's like, this is not what this is supposed to
Yeah.
be, you know?
Absolutely. Okay, so to recap, that's an honorable
Yes.
mention.
Yeah. We're doing things ass
Num
backwards here.
Number 7 was the power trip against Brothers of Destruction for me.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6 was Miz and Ziggler from 2016. Number 5 was RVD and Shelton from '06. Number 4 was the Miz and Rollins from 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3
Three
was
was
Benoit
Benoit and
versus
Jericho.
Jericho from
Yeah.
2000.
So your
Number
number
2,
two. Yeah.
let's
I
see.
don't understand.
Okay.
Because
Number 2,
you've left off either my number one or my number two.
yeah,
And I don't get it.
clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Anyway, number 2.
Yeah.
We're going to 2005 Shelton Benjamin versus Chris Jericho. I thought this was such a good match. You didn't, is this your number 1? This is the one you left off.
No, but you tell me this makes me know what you left off.
Yeah.
So confused. We're going to talk about this.
Okay.
Um,
So anyway, I thought the Jericho slap earlier in the match, leading to kind of the intensity picking up and trying to establish Jericho more as the heel because they were both kind of faces going into this match and allowed Jericho to work more in a heelish style. I thought there were a lot of believable near falls. Both guys hit some really, really good moves throughout the match, and I thought that this one started to kind of elevate Sheldon Benjamin a little bit more. He had been
that's not
in.
funny. I'm sorry. I'm going to break kayfabe here. Okay. My wife just played the worst fucking prank on me that you can possibly. I'm leaving this in the show. My wife is a horrible person. I'm sitting here trying to listen to you, and she's to my left with a sign that says Polyev is in.
Oh my God.
For those who don't know, we're recording this during the federal election. She thinks she's
I
so
love that you
funny.
also I love that you also like had to pull your glasses out to read it to make sure you were reading it right. That was awesome. I was like, what is happening?
My wife. These are the reasons I love
Now
her.
laugh.
This is why I love her. But
That's a great
fuck,
prank.
that's a not funny. All
As of
right,
right now, the Liberals are ahead, 894,000 votes and 48.2% of the
good.
share with 145 total
We don't
seats.
talk about politics on this show, but good. Love it.
Um, yeah, so yeah,
All right,
I just
Shelton
really
versus Y2J.
I
This
really
match,
thought this match was that good. I
I
thought
agree with you. This match is also my number two. This is why I'm
okay,
confused. We're gonna have to go through this list again because I'm confused somewhere. This list is 100% my number two.
okay. Which one did you leave off then? I'm so okay. This
That's why
match
I'm
is
confused because you had your number.
all right. Let's talk about this one and then
Because
we'll
your
go to my
number
number
five,
one.
because your number five was RVD versus Shelton. That's not on my
One,
list,
two, three. Yeah.
which means something else must not be
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see what
You
happens.
okay.
We'll figure this out. Shelton versus Y2J deserves to be your number two. 100% it does. This match, I'm glad this is your number two because I've known you long enough to know what you like. And I thought that Jericho Benoit was going to be either your number one or number two.
Okay.
And I thought you would rank it higher or better than this match, Shelton versus Y2J. And I was ready to argue with you because this is the superior match. And I'm glad that you agree because this proved, which is funny. I left off the 2005 match,
No,
which was only
6.
six match,
Yep.
with him and RVD because um, I see what you left off. Because I just couldn't get into Shelton in that year. But goddamn, could I
But a
get
year
into Shelton
earlier,
this year? In 2004, I really got into Shelton.
you
It's
know,
phenomenal stuff.
he does the spot where he leaps up to the top rope and lands both feet.
Yeah.
on the top turnbuckle and then hits
Oh,
the
and then hits the superplex.
yes.
Fucking amazing. Okay, so
Now
here's
he does it
something.
late. He also does it in the RVD match, but it's not
It's not the
as
same.
quick. It's not the
No.
same. And also again, this is, the genius of I think Jericho and the storytelling of this era. It didn't end with a finisher. It
Yeah.
was a pinning combination that Sheldon just got Jericho into that Jericho just couldn't get out of,
Yeah.
right? And again, kind of juxtaposition to the Miz and Rollins, where you have Miz hit his finisher twice and still can't put Rollins away, right? So I don't know, this is such a fun match,
Well,
and the crowd gets hot
oh
as
yeah.
it goes on and on and on. So yeah,
So
that's why it's my number two.
so here's a question for you. We discussed earlier that Seth Rollins may be the most underappreciated wrestler when it comes to the fans. Is Shelton Benjamin possibly the most underappreciated wrestler when it comes to the company? I feel like he's
Probably.
one of the most talented superstars that company has ever had. Do you feel like they ever used him like that? Do you feel like he should have been bigger? I know for a fact Tyler's sitting at home going, nope, Shelton was exactly where he was supposed to be. Shelton never should have been any higher. Shelton was never more than a high mid card. I know Tyler's sitting at home saying that right now. I disagree.
This,
I highly disagree.
I think he would have needed a major character tweak and not in the one that they gave him about his mama.
No, but even later on, his other heel turn, the gold standard, that wasn't it for me.
That I actually wasn't that
But
was that like later on, like
that was
just
a
after the
little later on.
pandemic?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay. Because he
no.
joined a group during I wasn't
That was the
watching it.
that was the Hurt Business.
Yes, I
Yeah,
thought that was cool.
and that
I
was
thought
good
that was
stuff.
so
That was good
cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
But no, the gold standard was, I think it was right after the Mama stuff. He bleached blonde his hair and started wearing gold
Oh,
tights, and yeah, it just wasn't it.
ah,
But
I vaguely remember
but
that.
but him as your baby face, um,
All natural athlete.
all natural athlete going for it, and always chasing the title, winning the Royal Rumble, winning the Money in the Bank, chasing the title. I always wanted to see for Shelton, and we got that in the IC runs, and he was a highlight in several of the Money in the Banks. But other than that, we didn't get a whole lot of what I would like out of Shelton.
Was he
And
maybe
that's not
just
Shelton's fault. That was the company. I think they maybe thought he wasn't good enough on the mic. Maybe he wasn't,
yeah.
maybe they didn't think he was sellable. I disagree.
I think again what maybe also a product of his time, he wasn't a massive dude, right? He
No,
wasn't
but he
he
was
wasn't
good. Like
he oh,
he
you don't
wasn't
have to
small
argue
by
for
any
me, but I'm
means.
just saying like maybe from the company's standpoint, right? He
Yeah,
didn't look like Brock Lesnar, he didn't look like The Undertaker, he didn't look like Triple H,
but also like how he had the
didn't look like Batista at the time or
no,
John
he didn't.
Cena, right? Like
But he had some of the biggest stars to backing him. That's what I don't get. Kurt
yeah.
Angle and Brock Lesnar were both big advocates for this guy, and
Yeah,
they
I know.
still didn't get him over.
Yeah, again, I
Weird.
think I think with a character tweak and, people that make way more money than I do could probably come up with a good idea for him.
Yeah.
Like
I do
um
regret that. We only had 30 minutes, so I didn't have enough time to get it all in, but I do regret not asking Kurt about his time with Shelton because
oh yeah.
I think Kurt would have put Shelton over big time had
Yeah.
he given the option.
But yeah, this version of Sheldon, I agree with Tyler. Like that's probably where he would have peaked. I think if you could have had some kind of character tweak, I don't know what it would have been, but I do think he had the talent to be at least in ring. He had the talent to put on main event matches.
Yeah.
So that's where I'll leave that. So,
There's no way our number ones are different. No way. Absolutely not. Our number ones have to match.
okay. Well, my number one
Yeah.
is going to 1 year before the Benjamin and Jericho
Yes.
angle. It's
Yes, it is.
2004. It's the
Two,
legend killer Randy Orton.
I thought it was three, but okay.
Oh, It
Maybe
might
no,
have been.
you're probably right. I don't know.
Anyway, it's the Legend Killer Randy Orton
Yeah,
against Cactus Jack.
this
Right
match.
from the promo
Yeah,
package to the bell ringing, this is pure gold.
this is almost a flawless match. This match is everything you need it to be. Even Meltzer, who does not hand out big awards a lot, gave this 4 3/4 stars for a Mick fucking Foley match. You know what I mean?
Would
So
have been more in the
that says
Tokyo
something.
Dome.
Well, 100% it would have. I mean, if he would have lost, if Foley would have lost the other year, he would have got that quarter star. Um, I loved everything about this match, right down to the lore. If you know anything about this match, apparently as they were walking out, um, Vince grabbed Randy and flat out said, "Hey, no tax."
Mhm.
And and,
Really?
and Randy's like, "Yeah, okay." And he went out, and then he grabbed Foley, and he's like, "Foley, no tax." And Foley's like, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah." Good thing that
That's
match was that
wild.
good, so nobody got in shit. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Bischoff coming out and stopping them from lighting the Barbie on fire, if that was an audible, if that was Vince being like, "No, shut that shit down."
That's the one part of the
You
match
know,
I don't like.
uh,
So
that's why I feel like it might have been an audible, because I feel like it was so out of place. It didn't make sense. I feel like that was them going into business for themselves and trying to get away with something and then shutting it down.
I
I do
wrote I thought Bischoff coming out and telling Foley not to light Barbie was stupid. Like, why even bother? Because Orton doesn't gain an advantage from it,
no
and I thought it took a little bit of steam out of the match.
100% did, and that's why I truly think it was an audible. I I think that it was not an approved spot, and he fully tried to get away with it. You know what's the old adage? Ask for
Forgiveness?
ask for forgiveness, not permission. I think he was going off that, and Vince was like, "No, fuck no," and he sent Bischoff to put an end to it. I
Yeah,
truly think that was the case. Um, if we ever get a return interview with Eric Bischoff, I think I'm going to ask him about that.
that's a good one for
You know what
sure.
I mean? I
I mean,
100%.
it's such a deep cut, but but definitely part of some crazy lore.
He might remember.
Um,
Yeah,
I'll just go through it quickly. I thought, the it started out crazy right out of the gate. The huge open headshots with the trash can,
yeah.
with Randy gaining that advantage over Cactus right away was awesome. But then he realizes very quickly, I am out of my element here.
Mhm.
And every time Cactus goes near Barbie, the barbed wire bat,
Yeah.
he looks terrified. But what I love about Orton in this match is you see that quote unquote evolution
Yeah.
where he shows his devious side and the side that makes you think he is a shit scared heel,
Mhm.
right? All in one match. Um, and I mean, it would be, I think it would still be a few years after this before Orton really became the guy.
Well, yeah, this is only 2003.
But
He's only been on the roster for not even 3 years. He Fuck,
but
not even
this
two
match I
years
think
at this
made
point.
him. This match I
So
think made him.
this is what I was just about to allude to. This is really cool because this is almost full circle. Mick Foley, even Cactus Jack, did for Randy Orton on this night exactly what he did for Triple H only 3 years earlier. Tyler and I have talked about this several times on the show, how we truly believe that Cactus Jack, Mick Foley helped make the game. I
Oh,
don't
it was.
think Triple H does not get to the levels he gets if Mick Foley did not do for him what he did.
But dude,
And
I
then he
think it
did the
started
same thing
before.
for Randy.
I think it started before year 2000. I mean, I know you're talking about like the Hell in a Cell and the Royal
Yes.
Rumble,
Those are the big
dude,
spots that it
for
really.
sure.
But
but
if you want to
also
go back to
his
'97 with their stuff in
with the cage match.
the blue cage and stuff like that, for
And
sure.
then they have a match on Raw. This came up on my Facebook the other day. It was like, um, so it's a match and Triple H is in the ring, and then uh, I think Dude Love is supposed to come down, and Dude Love is on the Tron, and he's like, "Oh, we're supposed to have a street fight, Daddy, and that's not my
Oh
bag."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then
And
he
then
brings out Mankind,
yeah, yeah,
and then he
yeah.
brings out Cactus, and
That's the
Triple H
return of
freaks
Cactus
out.
Jack. Yeah, love that stuff.
But dude, go back and watch that match.
Yeah,
It is so good.
those two
Um,
always had magic. Those
yes,
two always did good. And the same can be said about him and Randy because they had a couple other really
yes.
good matches too.
Um,
And this match is, I think this match is going to be studied. I really do. When it comes to
I
if you want to have a WWE style hardcore match, you got to watch this match.
so I said this is like it's textbook how to tell a story with your facial reactions,
Mhm.
right? Randy Orton with the blood dripping in his eye and dripping on the mat. He looks like he's like, I need to get out of here. Like I do not want to be in this match anymore, right? Um, it's just it's like you said, it's this is a textbook. How do you put together a match from the physicality to
Yeah,
the mental side of things as well? Um, I
you
also
allude.
thought, the spots um where is it here? The spots with the barbed wire bed. So,
Yes,
when he can't light it on fire, then he goes down and gets the barbed wire bed. Some of that was devastating just because like it's like pulling at Foley's skin. It's just
yeah,
oh my God. And then you're right, they bring out the thumbtacks. And honestly, this is also why, not just to study the match, but I think for people that want to get into the broadcasting business, this is why JR and the King are my favorite. Because then when they knew it was a big moment, they both knew
yeah,
what to do and what to bring, right? My favorite when, that like they were as shocked and as in disbelief as everybody else when he misses the RKO and Cactus throws him into the pile of thumbtacks,
mm,
the way they react to him falling to then reacting to that shot
yes,
of the camera shot of the thumbtacks in Orton's back, right? Like
yeah,
JR, he looks like a human pincushion. I mean, like you can't say it any better than that.
right,
And then when Orton gets thrown off onto the stage and Cactus jumps onto him, JR goes, I mean, it's a classic line, but he goes, "We are witnessing a human demolition derby." And I'm
yeah,
like,
love that.
perfect. It's perfect,
Yeah,
right? Like,
I love
um,
that spot too. I wasn't a big fan of him attacking the referees. I know it's Cactus Jack and all, but I'm
right.
just like, but it's not Mick Foley, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to die in that hill, but I wasn't a fan of him attacking the referees. But him doing the elbow drop off the stage was phenomenal. Love
Yeah.
that. Love the finish, the RKO on the bat. I believe this may have been one of the first times we heard the phrase RKO out of nowhere.
Yes.
I don't remember hearing
Yeah,
it
because
before
he
then.
he does he literally
Yeah,
does hit it out of nowhere.
yeah.
And again, like also that story of like, they come in and JR's like, oh, this Randy Orton kid, he's really cocky. And as the match goes on, they almost have sympathy for him. Like
Yeah.
when they start fighting near the stage, they're like, okay, like that's enough. Like let the
This
kid fight another day.
this
Like,
is a story that JR's told a few times that I really like. There's sometimes where he just hates somebody so much that he'll just like Triple H, for example, where he'll
yeah,
just like, oh, that dirty bastard, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's what you get. But sometimes he tells that story where he hates you in the beginning, but you gain his, even though he doesn't respect you as a human being, but goddamn does he respect what you did in that ring. And it shows in the way his commentary changes through the match. Because just like you said, he shows a little bit more empathy for what you're
mm-hmm,
doing. He'll
yeah,
even, and in this case, he even called for Mick Foley that he loves to fucking stop. You
yeah.
know,
And
phenomenal
and
stuff.
and again, like this is where I think uh, the King is really good too, where he's just like, I told you, Mick Foley is nuts. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just he won't let it go, right? And he's like, CJR, he's nuts, he's nuts.
And this is one of the matches I love going back because it's very hard for me to go back and watch some stuff with the King. I
Oh
don't love
yeah,
the King as much as I remember loving him,
yeah,
but this match is good because there's no puppies, there's no
exactly.
you know, it's just
Is
straightforward, just really good commentary by
yeah.
both men. This match, I think, will go down as one of the greatest of this era of professional wrestling. Um, if we were to sit here and do a top 7 matches of Mick Foley, I think this is on my list.
This is
If
that.
if we're doing a top
That's
seven
such oh man,
matches,
that's such a hard. I mean, definitely
if
if you're just counting his WWE stuff,
yeah,
absolutely. If you're
if
counting his whole body of work, it'd be hard to keep this one off. But man, this dude, like Mick Foley's one of my favorites. You
yeah,
know, I
no, and
just
I
flat
got
out say
that.
that
I
like
I, I
he
think I think
is.
this is on the list for me. But yeah, and to be honest, and this is even harder to say, if we're doing a top 7 Randy Orton matches, I think this might
Hmm.
be on the list.
Yeah, you know, I watch
Um,
stuff like this, and I
Especially if the
watch.
criteria is what's important to your career. This match is
Yeah.
extremely
Oh yeah.
important to Randy's career.
Like I said earlier, I
Extremely.
think this match made him. I watch matches like this and um or like that one, like I said, popped up on my Facebook and I just started watching it. The Cactus against Triple H on Monday Night Raw, and
Yeah.
I messaged Adam and I was like, how did we get so lucky to grow up at a time when Mick Foley was wrestling?
Because we also
Like
grew up
it's
in a
just
time when Mae Young was shooting hands at her pussy. I mean, you take the good with the bad. But I think every era has its great, every era has its horrible. And we definitely like don't sleep on the stuff. Like we got some real shitty stuff growing
oh
up.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But
but
we got some
but
really
we
good
got Mick
stuff too.
Foley.
Yeah, you know
We
what I
got
mean?
Mick Foley, and I
One
I
of the
love the
things
guy. I absolutely love the guy.
you mentioned earlier about the promo package. This is one of my favorite promo packages ever. It's
Oh yeah,
so well put together. And one of the things he says in this that I love, where he says, think of these guys, and they're showing pictures of Sandman, and this must be great because this is 2003. They're only like a year and a bit past actually owning this footage, so
right.
they can show it all. They can show his WCW stuff. They can show his ECW stuff. They can do a full package, and they're taking advantage of that. They're showing pictures of Sandman and Tommy Dreamer and Terry Funk and all these guys. He says, at the end of the day, I respect these men. I like these men. And I still went out there and tore them to pieces. Can you
That's
imagine what I'm going to
such
do to
a
someone I hate?
good line.
So good.
Yeah,
So good. He
yeah.
really sold the fact that he fucking hated Randy Orton. And I wish they fed into this a little bit more, but they didn't. Um, I wish they fed in the fact that he hated Triple H. He's always hated Triple H. So why wouldn't he hate Triple H's protege? This is
Hmm.
just a continuation of the same story,
Yeah.
and I don't think they leaned into that enough. But I loved the whole story together. Um, this was a great coming out story for Randy Orton, though.
Absolutely.
This is where the Legend Killer really became the Legend Killer.
Yeah.
Um, Amazing stuff.
I
I
mean, and
love,
that's the thing,
love
like, we touched on his stuff with Triple H, but also, he made heel rock back in the end of 98 and into 99.
yeah,
He helped Undertaker find another gear
yeah.
back when from Foley's debut in WWE right up until their Hell in a Cell match. He was the guy that they tasked Austin with in his first go around as WWE champion, right? Right after Shawn Michaels, his first opponent was Dude Love.
And what year did we say this
So
was? We said this was 04?
I have it down as 04. It might be 0.
Okay,
No, you
well,
know what? It is 04 because it was right
okay.
after WrestleMania 20.
I see. Okay, so now put this into perspective. We're talking about how this made Randy and how this made this was his coming out party. only 4 or 5 months later, he's the WWE champion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is something.
I told you,
They,
man. Mick
they're
Foley. He's like the gatekeeper.
and JR himself in this match said, "Is there?" He said, "If Randy Orton wins this tonight, is there any way we cannot call him the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time?"
Yeah,
What a way to get somebody over!
absolutely.
And then 4 months later,
Absolutely.
you're the world champion. Now, you and I both had an RVD match on our list.
That's right. But we had the opposite ones.
We did. My number
Yeah.
6 was Eddie Guerrero versus Rob Van Dam. Tell me, why did you choose Rob and Shelton over Rob and Eddie?
I felt this one was a little too short and
Okay.
I didn't think it told as good of a story as Sheldon and RVD. I thought this was mostly just
That may have been why I
one.
like it because I did find that RVD and Shelton went a little too long and I found it boring.
Okay.
Where this match was just enough for me.
I just felt it was like I felt like it ended abruptly with Eddie hitting the frog splash and then
Yeah.
getting the pinfall. I didn't think it did a lot for RVD.
No, it definitely didn't.
I really thought
I'll agree
Eddie
with
just
that.
kind of came in and kind of beat the shit out of RVD, and that was it. I was like, oh, okay. And sort of like your position on Jericho and Benoit, they have some great matches
Mhm.
down the road. And this one, again, I know it's hard to compare it
Well,
on this list like this,
there's a
but
reason why it's my number 6, and
yeah.
you know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
so that's simply it. I just like as much as it pains me to leave Eddie Guerrero off the list,
Right.
I just was like it was like don't get me wrong. I don't think any of the matches are bad matches.
No. All night, and I told you this. I said, thank God we did this list that only had 9, because there's a lot of times where if I have like 15 to 20 matches to watch for a list, I'll go through. I'll be like, well, I'm not watching that. There's no point. I'm not watching that. I'm like, I know
I
that's a bad
know.
match. There was nothing on paper was a bad match. I couldn't be like, I'm going to skip that. I'm going to skip that.
Yeah,
When the worst match on this card is Goldust versus
Godfather.
Godfather, and you already heard how we felt about that match. So these were 9 really good matches.
Well,
I'm glad we did this list.
when you sent me the list and I saw that Gold Dust versus Godfather was the first one, I was like, hell yeah.
Right.
I got
I,
a reason to watch Goldust and Godfather. I'm in.
I mean, I could have done without the Blue Meanie Sable impression in the beginning.
Hey, it just made it so much more worth it when Goldust kicked him in
Oh my
the
God.
blue jewels.
What a great spot. Well, sir, I thank you immensely for filling in this week. I'm glad we got to do this, especially this list. This is a very fun list.
It really was.
Um, is there anything else you want to get in before we take her home?
No, man, it was fun. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you and Tyler have to say about WrestleMania.
Yeah, we're gonna go deep next week.
I'm really looking forward to that WrestleMania
We are gonna
list.
hit our top 41 list. We're gonna talk about our favorite matches from every single WrestleMania. One match from every Mania.
That's gonna
That's
be
going to be a really interesting contrast, me versus him.
yeah,
I'm looking
absolutely.
forward to doing that a lot.
And
Um,
I'm really looking forward to what the WWE right now is doing post Mania. The Raw after Mania was great. Obviously, we're recording this on Monday, so I don't know what happened tonight on Raw. I'll probably catch it tomorrow at some time, but um yeah, like the WWE's in a good spot right now, man. It's a
yeah,
lot of fun to
I'm
watch.
I'm loving it. I'm loving everything about it. Where they're going with Cena and Orton is very entertaining. I'm loving this.
The Becky Lynch
And
heel turn.
good for Cody get some time off, and well deserved time off
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
I don't usually do this. I will say we're gonna have some cool conversations coming up. We have a couple interviews ready to happen. They haven't happened. They're going to happen next few weeks. I don't usually tell you guys about the interviews unless they've already happened, just in case we get a cancellation. But I'm that confident that this one's going to happen in a couple days. I'm going to be sitting down and having a good old chat with a man named Justin Race. He is the son of the legendary King Harley Race.
Awesome.
He's going to talk to us all about growing up
With wrestling royalty.
being literal royalty. His dad was the fucking king.
That's so
So
great.
I cannot wait to talk to Justin. I'm really looking forward to that. That'll come at you in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Until next time, my friends, you know what to do. If you haven't done it already, subscribe, like all those beautiful things. If you only listen to us on YouTube, jump over to Spotify, and you don't have to listen to the show, but give us a review. Give us a little 5-star right there. That helps us out big time. Just ask CVV. He'll tell you every week too. He'll tell you to review. If it's good enough for CVV, it's good enough for us. Come on. Until next time, my friends, we give a huge thank you to my good friend of many, many years, Mr. Matthew Sookram. I cannot wait for us to have a horrible conversation in a couple days about
About
hockey.
hockey.
Yeah. But other than that, God damn, I hope I say this about the Leafs in less than a week. I hope that they get counted out.